Space was silent, cold, empty. The Zaan Dominion ruled most of the galaxy now. Their ships moved like shadows, their laws crushed weaker worlds. No one dared to fight them anymore, and no human ship had been seen in this part of space for nearly 20 years. But then something changed. At Deep Watch Station 9, an old outpost floating near the edge of the Void sector, a bored technician named Farlan sat watching empty space. He yawned. Nothing ever happened here, just dark, empty stars and silence. Suddenly, a small red light blinked on his screen. "Signal detected," the screen said. Farlan blinked. "What?" he whispered. He tapped the console. The signal was weak, almost like a whisper. But it was human, a human signal. From inside the void. He called his commander. Within minutes, a team surrounded the screen. "This must be a mistake," said one officer. "No human ship can survive there. That area is cursed." But the signal was clear. A repeating message, in old Earth language. "This is Elira Hart, human survivor. To any who hear me, I am alive, and I remember everything." A chill spread through the room. "Shut it down," the commander ordered. "Wipe the logs. This signal never existed." Farlan's hands froze. "But sir, she said she's alive." The commander narrowed his eyes. "If the Zarn find out we heard this, they'll erase this station, just like they erased her ship." Farlan's heart pounded. He didn't speak, but secretly he copied the signal. Something in that voice sounded dangerous and very alive. Years ago, Elira Hart had been second in command on the human colony ship Sunreach. It was a peaceful mission. Thousands of families were on board, traveling to a new home, but they never made it. The Zaan Dominion had attacked without warning. They said humans were too wild, too dangerous. They destroyed Sunreach in the Void sector, where no help could come, or so they thought. Elira survived. Alone in a broken ship, floating in silence, she fixed what she could. Her body was burned, her ship damaged, her people dead. But her mind stayed sharp, and she made a promise in the dark. They took everything. "I will return the favor." Back on Watch Station 9, Farlan stared at the signal he had saved. It had stopped now. No more messages. But that voice, it echoed in his ears. The Zarn High Fleet soon arrived. Their golden ships darkened the skies. "Any sign of human signals?" their leader asked coldly. Farlan shook his head. "No, sir." "Nothing detected." The alien's eyes scanned him, cold, yellow, empty. Then he turned away. But as the ships left, Farlan whispered to himself, "She's out there. And she's not done." In the shadows of deep space, a broken ship drifted, quiet and dark. But inside, lights flickered. A woman sat in the captain's chair. Her face was scarred, her eyes sharp. Elira Hart. She watched the galaxy map. Zaan worlds blinked like red stars on her screen. She smiled. "They'll remember what they did," she said softly, "and they'll regret they left me alive." The broken ship floated through the darkness. No light, no sound. To the outside world, it looked dead. But inside, something had changed. Elira Hart stood in front of a cracked control panel. Her fingers moved fast over the controls. Sparks flew, screens blinked. Systems that had slept for years came alive again. The ghost ship was waking up. This was once the colony ship Sunreach. It had carried 12,000 people, men, women, and children, toward a new life. Now, it carried only one thing: revenge. Elira's face was tired but focused. Her body still held scars from the Zaan attack. She moved with a slight limp, her left arm mostly metal now, rebuilt with old tech she had found in wreckage. Her voice broke the silence. "AI Core, status report." A soft voice answered, robotic but calm. "Partial systems restored. Weapons offline. Engines at 12% capacity. Life support. Stable." Elira nodded. "That's enough to move. Enough to strike." She opened a file. It was filled with images. Zaan fleets, command ships, cities. She had mapped every part of the empire that had destroyed her people. Now she had a plan. Start jump calculations. Target, Outpost Zeta 4. Zeta 4 was a Zarn mining station, small, lightly guarded, but important. It sent rare crystals to fuel Zarn warships. When the ghost ship dropped from hyperspace, the Zarn scanners didn't even react. The system was marked as dead space, no life expected, no threat expected. Inside the control room, a bored Zarn guard leaned back in his chair. Then suddenly alarm screamed. Unknown ship detected, he stood up. What ship? There's nothing in this zone. Another officer shouted, It's human, part of the Sunreach class. The first guard laughed. That ship is long gone? But the screen didn't lie. Incoming transmission. They opened it. A short video played. A woman, scarred, cold, eyes, her voice like steel. This is Elira Hart. You killed my people. This is your warning. I'm still alive, and I remember everything. Then the screen went black. 5 seconds later, the station exploded. Back in her ship, Elira watched the blast from a safe distance. She didn't smile. She didn't celebrate. She just whispered, "One down." Her ship shook from the engine. Strain. It wasn't made for war, but she was. The AI spoke again. "Warning! Energy levels critical. Hull damage increasing." Elira gritted her teeth. "We move anyway. Find the next target." She opened a small drawer under the captain's seat. Inside was a photo. A little girl, smiling. Her daughter gone. She looked at it for a long moment. "I do this for them. For every human they burned. I'll burn their stars." Far across the galaxy, news of the attack reached the Zarn High Council. 12 elders sat in a dark room. Tall, thin, cold. Outpost Zeta 4. "Destroyed," said one. "No survivors," said another. "All we recovered was a message, from a human." Silence filled the room. "That ship should not exist," one elder hissed. "It does," another replied. "And now the galaxy is watching. Kill her." "But how?" one asked. The void was supposed to be her grave. They turned to the lead elder, a massive Zarn with silver armor. He stood slowly. "She wants war. Then give her one. Send the hunters." Back aboard the ghost ship, Elira stared at the stars. She knew the Zarn would come for her now. She welcomed it. "Let them try." The AI beeped softly. "New transmission. Intercepted. Zarn fleet mobilizing. They are calling you the Ghost." Elira nodded. "Good. Let them fear the ghost of the humans they tried to erase." She stood tall and ready. Her ship, though broken, was moving again, and this time, the galaxy would remember her name. The Zarn did not waste time. They were not used to fear, and they did not like the feeling. Soon after the destruction of Outpost Zeta 4, the Zarn High Council sent their most elite strike force. The Hunters. These were not soldiers. They were killers, cold, fast, and trained to erase enemies without a trace. No mercy, no survivors. Their mission: find the ghost ship. Destroy Elira Hart. In the dark corners of space, the Hunters began their search. 10 black ships spread out across nearby systems. They moved like shadows. They said nothing. They left only death behind. They attacked 3 old relay stations, just to scare others into silence. In the station near Sector 49A, one poor trader whispered into his comm before the Hunters got to him. She's hunting them, not hiding. They don't understand. She's not afraid." Elira Hart watched their movements from deep space. Her systems were damaged, yes. Her ship was barely holding together. But she had something the Hunters didn't. Purpose and rage. The AI gave an update. Enemy search patterns detected. Multiple Hunter ships now scanning Sector 12F. Elira grinned. "Good. Let's make them feel alone." She had studied the Zarn for years now. She knew how they fought. And she knew how to break them. In a dead asteroid field, one of the Hunter ships slowed down. Strange energy readings had appeared, like bait. Inside the black ship, 2 Hunters moved fast. They scanned the field, quiet, cold, confident. Then one of them paused. Something's wrong, no life signs and no tech, but boom! The asteroid beside them exploded. Sharp metal shrapnel tore through their shields. Before the second Hunter could react, a laser shot ripped through the bridge. The last thing he saw was a figure, just a shadow. standing on a rock, holding a weapon with a human flag burned into it. Elira Hart. She didn't wait for backup. She moved like fire through the broken ship. Inside the ship's corridor, she faced the last hunter. He reached for his weapon, but Elira was faster. "You killed families," she whispered. "Now, feel what they felt." One clean shot he dropped. The AI gave another report. Hunter ship Alpha 3 destroyed. Elira breathed heavy, gripping her weapon. Next, back on the Zaan capital ship, the leader of the hunters received the report. One of his ships, gone. No signal, no escape pods. Just silence. He growled. "She's not hiding, she's hunting us." Another report followed, then another. In the next 2 days, 3 more hunter ships were lost. Each one had the same final signal, a human voice. "This is for Sunreach." Panic began to spread in the Zaan fleet. They had fought many enemies before, but never like this. One Zaan officer whispered, "She fights like a ghost, but strikes like a monster." The leader replied, "Then we treat her as such." He pressed a button. A command was sent to all Zaan forces. New orders: destroy any ship with human energy signatures. No warnings, no survivors. Far from them, Elira watched their reaction from her ship. "They're scared," she said quietly. The AI responded. "They are killing anything human now. Even neutral colonies are in danger." Elira's eyes turned cold. "Then we send a message they can't ignore." She reached into her ship's memory files and pulled up old footage, videos of the Zaan attack on Sunreach, screams, fire, children running. She stitched the footage together with her own message. "You erased my people. You burned our future. Now I bring fire to yours. I am Elira Hart. I am the ghost you created. I am not the hunted. I am the storm." She sent the message to every open channel in the galaxy. Within hours, millions had seen it. Some were shocked, some were inspired, and some, especially the Zaan, were terrified. On a human mining moon, a boy saw the message and whispered to his father, "She's real." His father nodded slowly. "And she's not done yet." The message spread faster than light. Across the galaxy, Elira Hart's face appeared on screens, on space stations, on colonies, on old ships hiding in the deep. "I am Elira Hart. I am the ghost you created. I am not the hunted. I am the storm." It shook people. For the first time in years, someone had stood against the Zaan. Alone, broken, but unafraid, and she was winning. On a far mining moon, a group of human workers sat in silence, watching the message again. An old woman, her hands black with coal dust, whispered, "She's alive." "Hey, Sunreach survivor." A young man stood up, fire in his eyes. "She's not just alive, she's fighting back." He turned to the others. "How long have we been hiding? Working for them? Watching them kill us slowly?" "Too long." Someone said. "It's time," the young man growled. "We rise." On a neutral alien planet, a reptilian merchant watched the message in his dark shop. He had traded with the Zaan. He knew what they were, but as Elira's words echoed, something shifted inside him. "She's not just seeking revenge," he said softly. "She's waking up the galaxy." He pressed a button under his desk. "Contact the underground. Tell them the ghost is real." On a hidden moon base, a secret human resistance leader received the full transmission. He listened to Elira's voice, watched her face, saw the pain in her eyes. He turned to his officers. "Prepare the old fleet. I don't care if they're rusty. We move." "Who gave the order?" one asked. The leader's eyes burned. Elira Hart just did. Back on her ship, Elira sat alone, watching the galaxy react. They expected this. Her plan was simple: take revenge, strike fear, then disappear. But now something bigger was happening. The AI spoke. "Uplink requests increasing. Hundreds of human colonies trying to contact this vessel." Elira stared at the screen. "I'm not a leader," she said. "You became one," the AI replied. "What do I do now?" The AI paused. "What you've always done. Keep fighting." The Zaan Council was not pleased. Inside their cold chambers, they screamed in alien tongues. One of their spies had returned with a warning. Multiple colonies rising, resistance forces moving. Elira's message started it. One elder hissed, "She is only one human." Another snapped, "She has become more than that." The supreme elder slammed his staff down. "Silence. We will not be brought down by one broken ghost. He turned to the war map. Send the execution fleet, burn every colony showing signs of resistance. Let the galaxy know. Hope is a crime. The execution fleet moved fast. 10 warships, dozens of bombers, thousands of soldiers. Their first target, Relon 9, a small human farm colony. On Relon 9, the people had just begun to organize. Old weapons. Outdated ships, but brave hearts. A mother held her child as ships filled the sky. "We're too late," someone shouted. "No," said an old man. "We fight anyway." Then suddenly, a signal broke through the air, a human voice. "This is Hilira Hart. To the people of Relon 9, hold the line, I'm coming." They looked up in disbelief. Moments later, the execution fleet's sensors picked up a strange signal. One Zaan officer narrowed his eyes. "It's her, the ghost ship." "Alone?" The commander laughed. "Yes, but not for long." Suddenly, lights blinked on scanners. Dozens of human ships dropped from hyperspace, old, rusted, but armed. They didn't have a fleet name. They weren't part of any army. They were farmers, engineers, survivors, awakened by one woman's voice. From the lead. "Ship," Elira's voice rang out across the battle space. "You wanted to erase us. But now we remember who we are. We are not broken. We are not weak, and we are not alone." Then the sky exploded. The ghost ship fired first, its weapon systems shaky but deadly. The human fleet followed. And for the first time in a generation, the Zaan lost a battle. On the ground, as Zaan forces retreated, the people of Relon 9 cried and cheered. A young boy looked up and asked, "Who saved us?" His father smiled. "The ghost did, and she woke the whole galaxy." The Zaan Empire was shocked. For the first time, their power was broken by humans, broken by Elira Hart and her ragged fleet of survivors. But the Zaan were not done. They sent the Crushers, their deadliest army unit, to finish the fight. Thousands of heavily armed soldiers, fast ships, weapons that could burn entire moons. Their order was simple: destroy every human colony that stands against us. Crush the uprising before it spreads. The Crushers landed on Mira 12, a small but growing human settlement. The people there had just started building defenses. Old weapons, little training, but strong hope. The Crushers opened fire. Ships filled the sky. Explosions shook the ground. People ran for cover. Elira Hart was watching the battle from her ship. She felt the pain of every explosion, every cry. But she did not stop. Her voice was calm but fierce. "Hold the line, stay strong, this is our fight." She sent her fastest ships to help the defenders. On Mira 12, the resistance fighters heard her message and felt new strength. A young woman, named Jara, stood on the front line. She gripped her rifle tightly. "Elira believes in us, we have to fight back." The Crushers kept pushing. They were strong. But the humans were desperate. Suddenly, the sound of engines filled the sky. More ships came out of nowhere. Elira's ships. They attacked the Crushers with everything they had. The battle turned. The Crushers were pushed back. Their ships were damaged, their soldiers scattered. Jara shouted, "We won't give up, not today." Across the galaxy, the story spread. Humans were fighting back. Not just a ghost, not just survivors. A whole galaxy was waking up. But the Zaan Council was furious. The Supreme Elder slammed his fist on the table. "These humans are out of control. We must end this now." He ordered his best scientists to create a new weapon, one so powerful it could destroy entire planets. Elira learned about the weapon. She knew if the Zaan used it, billions would die. Her anger burned hotter than ever. "If they want war, I will give it to them." She gathered all the resistance leaders. Her voice was steady but strong. "The Zaan want to scare us, but they only make us stronger. We fight for every life lost. We fight for the future." The leaders nodded. The fight was no longer just about survival. It was about justice. The galaxy was changing. More planets joined the fight. More people rose up. Elira was no longer alone. The Zaan's new weapon was nearly ready. A massive space station, hidden in the dark side of a dead planet, hummed with deadly power. They called it the Annihilator. It could destroy entire worlds. in seconds. Its beam was strong enough to burn a planet to dust. The galaxy held its breath. Elira Hart stood on her ship's bridge, staring at the star maps. She knew the Annihilator meant only one thing. If the Zaan fired it, billions would die. Her hands clenched the railing. We must stop it, no matter what. Her AI companion spoke softly. The weapon's shield is nearly impenetrable. The only way is to destroy the control core. Elira nodded. Then we find the courts and end this war. Elira called the resistance leaders again. Her voice was steady. The Zaan's weapon is ready. We have one chance. We attack the station. Together. If we fail, the galaxy falls. The leaders looked at each other. One said, "It's a suicide mission." Elira smiled sadly. "Maybe, but it's the only way." The fleet gathered near the dead planet. Ships of all shapes and sizes. Old cargo ships, fighters, even mining vessels turned into warships. Elira gave the order. Attack formation Delta. Stay sharp for the galaxy. The attack began. The Zaan's defenses opened fire, lasers, missiles, explosions everywhere. Ships fell, heroes fell. But the resistance pressed on. Elira led a small strike team toward the control core. They fought, their way inside the station. Hallways echoed with footsteps and gunfire. The air smelled of burning metal. At the heart of the station, Elira faced the final guard, a massive Zaan warrior, armed with deadly weapons. They fought fiercely. Elira dodged and struck. The warrior charged, but Elira used her speed and skill. Finally, she defeated him. She reached the control core. Her hands trembled as she placed explosives. The AI warned, "You have only minutes to escape." Elira took a deep breath. For the galaxy. The explosion shook the station. Alarms blared. The Annihilator began to crumble. Elira's team ran. The station exploded behind them. Bright light, darkness. They escaped just in time. The Annihilator was gone. The threat was ended. Across the galaxy, cheers echoed. Elira Hart was a legend. The ghost who became a hero. But Elira knew the war was not over. The Zaan would return, and the galaxy would have to stay ready. She looked at the stars and whispered, "We fight, we survive, we win." The war was over. The Annihilator was destroyed. The Zaan Empire had retreated, wounded and broken. The galaxy was quiet, but it was not the same. Elira Hart stood on the bridge of her ship. She looked out at the stars. She felt the weight of everything she had done. Her voice was soft. "I was alone in the void. But now, Foy, I am not alone." Across the galaxy, people celebrated. Planets rebuilt. Families reunited. New alliances formed. The humans were no longer scattered and afraid. They were a force. A family. Jara, the fighter from Mira 12, stood in E. The crowd had a huge celebration. She smiled as she watched the stars light up with fireworks. "We did it," she said, "because one ghost never gave up." Elira sent a message to every human colony. Her words were simple but strong. "We fought for our homes, for our future, but the fight never ends. Stay united. Stay strong. The galaxy is ours to protect." The AI spoke quietly to Elira. "Your legend will inspire generations." Elira smiled. "I hope so." She turned to the stars again, but deep in the shadows the Zaan still watched. They were beaten but not destroyed. One thing was certain. The galaxy had changed forever. Elira's revenge had become a new beginning. The ghost was no longer a shadow. She was a light, a guide for all who wanted freedom. The galaxy would never forget the name. Elira Hart.